Hey, everybody, and welcome to Singles in the Frontline, your every Wednesday live broadcast brought to you by Frontline Gaming. We are your hosts, Kicker, the chief of cereal, and the sigilite of the FLG. And I'm Seth, the Mad Dog, your competitive correspondent. And I want to say for the record, Kicker was not responsible for the late start.
I was not responsible for the
fault.
late start, people. It was entirely our tech priest in the background.
Oops.
We still love him. We still love him.
It's officially my first show back after vacation.
Yeah,
I'm allowed to
it
make
is.
mistakes. Okay.
This is our tech priest. Thank you, tech priest Dickie. It is good to have you back, man.
Yeah.
Seth, it's
We
good to
missed
see you
you.
as always.
Yeah.
I have to brag, dude. I've been playing a lot of Kill Team and having way
Yeah.
too much fun. Yes.
How dare you have fun? Don't you
Yeah.
know that wargaming is not fun?
Wargaming's not fun. We don't do this for pleasure at all, right? This is purely a labor of love. No, it's been fun. I've been playing more and more Kill Team. Been playing the Into the Dark one, the new close combat one, and it really makes me think of like Counter-Strike or some sort of SWAT team busting in.
Yeah.
And it's totally different than 40K and a wonderful weeknight, experience as opposed to spending a whole, 3 hours of just going and having dinner with my wife and son and then going meeting up with a buddy and rolling some dice. So that's been a lot of fun. But more importantly, Seth, as you know, we have a nice little competition going on right here.
We do.
Seth, why don't you describe the competition that we've got going on here?
Well, Kicker and I are both painting up the new faction Leagues of Votann.
Yes, because we are original Votann players.
We are longtime original Votann players, both of us right here.
Yes. Long time.
And we are comparing our progress. So Kicker here has painted up 3 lovely Pioneer bikes.
Yeah. If you are listening to our podcast, you should be watching our podcast live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You not only get the cool visual assets, but you get to be part of chat. And chat tonight, you're going to be very important. We're going to be rolling out quite a few questions we're asking you that will help determine the future of our wonderful hobby. But for right now, we're talking about hobby stuff. And yes, Seth, I have been busy taking on the challenge of who can get to 2,000 points of beautifully painted space wars.
Whoa. Why is it all got to be about numbers, man? Why can't it be about quality?
Quality, because I know there's no way in hell I will be able to compete on the quality of the paint job. So I'm trying to at least beat you to the 2,000 point mark. And yes, I have been working on some secret project that I can't share just yet. So I'm only able to show you 3 models, these 3 Pioneers that I've basically finished up. I will have plenty more for next week, though.
All right.
Yeah. What do you think, Seth? Too much going on with his miniatures? There's a lot of stuff on the Pioneers, their bikes. I was wondering what you thought.
I think they're fine. I enjoyed building them. I know there's been a lot of complaints about how like many parts there are on that kit, but it's fine. I enjoyed it. I didn't paint mine up, but I will tell you that mine are my 3 bikes are primed and base coated, just waiting for me to see what you put up this week, just so I could have an idea of where to go from here.
So you and I were talking before the show about, do you paint them with the riders on or hold them off for a while and do it as a
I built the first set with the riders on to see how it goes.
Yeah. And previously, this is my 3rd army that has, I guess, mounted troops riding some sort of vehicle or beast. I've done, squig riders, and I've done the Admech cavalry. And previously, I've always built them with the riders off and then put them on. And I think that allows me to get a really beautiful paint job. But on these miniatures, it's actually very easy to paint the rider and while they're glued onto the model. So I don't think there's a need to do a several.
Right. Well, I'll do it and see how it goes, and I'll report back next week, I guess.
I got to tell you, Seth, though, that on these Pioneers, you have a lot of little bits you can glue on there. You have these like canvas roll,
saddlebags,
saddlebags
like that.
You don't have to put them on there, and it will save you a shit ton of time. I put every single bit on there because I wanted these guys to be kind of cool and look really rugged, and I think they look cool. But wow, all my time was spent painting all the little, the little random gear they had
and crannies.
Yes, I don't know if that was worth doing if I'm going to do another 3 of these. What about you, Seth? What have you been up to this week?
Well, I've continued my horror movie kick. I think since I was on last week, I think I finished off all the Friday 13th.
All right, nice.
I actually enjoyed Jason X because it was kind of like realized how stupid it was at that point. I watched some more of the Halloweens, kind of getting myself ready for Halloween Ends this weekend. And then I started watching the Scream series. I've enjoyed that. But I also painted up another 10 Hearthkin. You can see them here. Remember, I'm doing the magnetized crystals for my squad marks. So I decided to try out a set of red crystals. They actually came out pretty well. I like them.
It looks beautiful, man. Are the crystals, are you buying them colored? Or are you painting these crystals?
No, I'm buying them clear, and then I'm using actually Army Painter speed paints over top of them, and then I'll seal them with a gloss coat.
Dude,
to kind of give them the
love it.
shiny crystal look.
Love it.
So yeah, they've been working really well, and they're pretty cheap for like a pack 100. So I think it'll be a nice way for me to be able to kind of, as the game changes over the next few years and different war gear becomes more important and others become kind of redundant, be able to switch up my squads.
You mentioned war gear, so I'm going to point. So Seth, if you guys are new to our show and you're not really familiar, I am very much a hobbyist and enjoy the game competitively, but I'm not quite as competitive as my wonderful friend here, Seth. Seth, why, looking at your models, it looks like you gave the L7 rocket launcher and a power sword on. What's going on there? Is that a hobby choice, or is that a competitive?
The rocket launcher is over on the screen here. It is on the left-hand side of the image. He does not have a sword. The sword is on the Thane.
No, sorry, not to confuse it. Yes, you have two models, one with a rocket launcher, one with a power sword. Why did you choose to bring that war gear, I guess? Like,
right now I'm just building all the special weapons because I'm going to end up building more bolter guys and ion guys than I need. Basically, right now I'm just kind of building all the special weapons. I don't really know. I don't have an army list in mind. I don't have a definitive, this is what I'm building towards. I'm just kind of building and painting and kind of seeing where the army takes me right now.
Cool. And I do have to severely, significantly, I don't know, I have to applaud your power sword there, dude. That is a gorgeous power sword. That should go into our a hobby. Like, you should do a tutorial on that, because that green blur.
It looks fine as from a tabletop standard, which I am trying to paint this army at a tabletop or maybe a little above tabletop standard. But when you get up close, it is maybe not as pretty.
Okay. Well, I think the choice of a green power sword, I know it's kind of going with your lenses. You don't really see green power swords that often, and it looks really, really cool.
Definitely pops. I like it popping.
All right. Sweet. Let's do this.
All right. Well, Kicker. Let's see if did old GW kind of preview any new products lately or release anything lately?
Oh man, just let's just see. Should we talk about guard? Maybe should we talk about these guard? The guard are gorgeous, man.
There's something before guard though.
Okay.
Let's not forget about our lovely AOS friends.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about King Brood. King Brood.
King Giant Kit is what he is.
King Giant Massive Blow You Out of the Water kit. That is ridiculous. It's heavy. It's a chore to pick this kit up. I was generous. It's physically a challenge. No, GW was generous enough to send me an advanced copy of this new giant Gargant, and he is massive. It is got to be one of the larger kits.
Is it larger than your child?
It is. Yes. No, he is definitely larger than my child is small, though. He is a tiny human being. But this Gargant, this King Gargant model, it's kind of cool because it allows you to have all the different variants in it. So it's kind of like the Canis Rex Imperial Knight. Remember, you get the Canis Rex model, but you could build every single type of knight from that. Same with this Gargant. So yes, it is King Brood, but it allows you to build anyone.
Broad, because Brood would be 2 O's.
Right? Yeah, well, I can't spell. I'm a good Southerner. I don't know language words. This is too complicated for me.
Well, I'm from the north, and I'm here to tell you how to talk, boy.
No, so it is an impressive model. It gives you the opportunity to build all the different variants of this Gargant. But what's really, really cool is all the little detailed bits and pieces in there. So you're going to get a lot left over that you can play with for any sort of other army if you just want to do some cool kit bashes or conversions. So very excited to see these on the table, and I'm sure that you will be seeing them soon because they are up for, I think pre-order was last week, so you'll be able to pick them up this weekend.
Street date should be this week.
But now can we don't have photos. I mean, we can pull up some photos, but we should probably talk about another.
Tech Priest may have already gotten.
Can you pull up our Tech Priest is very much a fan of a particular 40K army. Maybe we can talk about that new release. Seth, I'm sure you saw it, right?
Yeah, it's guard. Right?
It's guard. Yeah. Before we get to the guard, man, we have to talk about the corn dude.
Oh, that's what he likes.
Is that what our Tech Priest loves?
Yes, I thought it was guard.
There we go. Look at that gorgeous model.
Tech Priest Dickie, what do you think about this?
Oh, hey guys. Obviously, this is the only thing I looked at during the previews, and it was like, why do they always put the corn stuff at like the complete end?
Yeah, it's like we forgot about this. Let's just throw it in real fast.
Yeah. I think he's super awesome.
Can we describe the miniature for those that don't have the visual elements here and maybe don't know what the hell this thing is?
Yeah, an angry space cow is ridden by a man with ego issues.
He's grumpy. You heard it first, people. I mean, let me paint you a picture.
It's more of a space rhino, really, though, right?
It's space cow, space rhino.
I think the juggernaut
space manatee.
Corn. I think the juggernaut of corn has been around long enough for people to know what it is. It's a juggernaut of corn, but the interesting thing about this one is he has a chainsaw attached to his front horn because he wasn't killy enough.
That's so freaking cool, man.
He's
I
so
love
cool.
it. I love it.
But this guy's a named character, and he kind of alluded that there was going to be a generic option, a generic character option in the kit as well.
Awesome.
I'm gonna have both.
Finally, worthy opponents for my beast bosses on Squeakosaur.
I think that's a great. I think actually that's something that we talked about doing the other day, Seth. Is that we're gonna have a one-on-one mono a mono battle.
Match. We're gonna death battle.
Battle.
Hey guys. Okay, real quick poll, instant focus group question, guys. Tech Priest, you're here. We got Seth here, guys. At LVO, we always do the big night, fight. Basically, you can bring this giant, knight. Should we do something similar, but like the warlord fight, where you get to bring your Primarch or your beast boss on Squigger? No, do you think there's an opportunity for that? No, maybe. I don't know.
But we do have Adam Camilleri in chat saying metallic bovine enthusiast is his official job title.
Metallic bovine.
Kelsey also brought up a good idea. A possible Thursday test stream of some of our we'll call it death battle. Let's stick with death battle.
Yeah, sure. I love it.
I'm sure we can make it happen.
Well, so that is a pretty cool model, and GW has been doing the combo kits, right? So you can get a generic model as well as a character from one kit. We got it with the Votan, we had it with the
Votan, we got it with the Oryx. Yeah, so they've been doing a lot of that lately. So I would not be surprised to see that kit have a dual build option for a generic Juggerlord.
Okay. Now we got to talk about something I'm really, really, really excited about, guys. The guard. The guard. The guard.
Let me go.
The guard has formally, officially, with all fanfare, been released, at least in part, so we know what a lot of
they
the
have been
previewed.
Like.
Yeah. I am kind of frustrated. I wanted to get photos of the tanks. We don't have photos of the new tanks or official photos of the new tanks, but we get to see the new infantry kits, and they are gorgeous. I really didn't think that they. I didn't think they could make them that much better, but they
definitely made them a lot more dynamic. They've got a lot more poses with them moving and running now. I really like the new heavy weapon teams.
Oh yeah,
they look a lot nicer now.
Than before. Yeah. The heavy weapon teams, and then
definitely a glow up.
Super heavy weapon team. So you have your standard heavy weapon teams like mortars and rocket launchers and autocannons, but then they have the giant heavy weapons teams. So this was like the biggie size las cannon and the weird mini basilisk thing.
The biggie size las cannon.
I don't know. They called it an overcharged las cannon. So I'm excited for those because they're like.
I know. I just imagine the guardsman is like he walks up to the armory and he presents his requisition slip for a las cannon, and like the tech priest is like, "Would you like to biggie size that?"
Just fries and a shake.
And he's like, "Oh man, I got a few extra bucks. I might as well."
Yeah, might as well. Right. It is cool though. This is a lot like we'll talk about orcs, like the Grok guns, right? Like the mech guns.
Ooh.
Having all these little characters walking around.
Yeah. Important question.
Shoot.
Yes or no to knee pads?
I gotta say a strong no. I really
strong no to anti knee pad over there.
Anti knee pad. You know what the problem is, and once again, this could just purely be the way that they've been painted. So it might not be the actual model itself, but they just stand out too much. And there's just this little blob of green on the rest of the khaki color.
You do not want to take a bolt gun to the knee. All right.
No.
We have heard from other adventurers how injuries to the knee could be detrimental to your career. So I think we need to protect the knees.
So those not in the loop, one of the most controversial things about these new infantry models for the Guard Army are the Astra Militarum are the knee pads. All the basic infantry have uniquely positioned knee pads, but no other armor on their torsos or legs. So
much like I asked LVO attendees to hug John Quinnell, I want viewers to give Kicker a light tap to the knee when they see him, just to remind him the functional protection of a knee pad.
Yeah, but maybe
Kicker should have.
Oh, hey guys. So I was like, the knee pads are really important. Like, it's not comfortable when you're on your knees on the gravel.
It's not.
So it makes sense that they would have knee pads. It doesn't make sense they would have not a lot of armor everywhere else. But I mean,
yeah.
Like this guy, this guy's like, shoot me in the chest and the knee, and I'm okay. Yeah. Anywhere else, it's bad news.
I think that's the problem.
There's nothing important in the thigh. You can get shot in the thigh all day. It's fine.
You are the closest thing to a medical professional on this show, Seth, considering that you work on birds. So if you're saying that the thighs don't need to be covered, then that's fine.
Ooh, we've got a good one from chat from Alex Chilver. Waiting for someone to kit bash a skateboard onto guardsmen now.
Yes. All right, if you're in chat, chat, tell us, knee pads or no knee pads. What do you guys think?
Where does everyone land? There's been a lot of pro knee health.
A lot of
I'll say that.
Yeah. I think it's important. I mean, I guess it is important to take care of your knees.
What about the Commissar? Because this model's hotly contested. Some people hate it, some people love it.
I love that guy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
He
looks like someone I don't want to mess with. He's not very polite looking.
But Seth, you and I both know that faces are pretty difficult to paint, and I'd say the vast majority of people kind of just gloss over the faces. Like the detail on this is
contrast paint.
Contrast paint. The detail on this is the face, and everything else is kind of kind of bland. Like look at his tactical rock. That is the smallest tactical rock we've seen.
Exactly. He doesn't need a large tactical rock to be intimidating.
He doesn't need the rock. I think we need to talk about something really, really important. I zoomed in on this literally the first time I saw the photo of I guess the full squad placed out on that, I guess, cinematic battlefield there. Did you see the squad sergeant for the basic infantry? Did you zoom in and see the weapon that guy's running? I should have shared a photo with our tech priest. It's you have to like really zoom in, but the squad sergeant obviously he has enhance, right? The squad sergeant obviously can have a chainsword and a las pistol like normal, but one of the squad sergeants in the group photo, that's the group photo up there. Look up top more, a little to the left. Yeah. The guy has, it looks like a submachine gun. It could be a bolt gun, but it looks like
it's probably a bolt gun.
It's probably a bolt gun.
Because I remember like somewhere in previous codexes, you had the option of giving a bolt gun to some guardsmen.
It was, and it was so weird. So you can tell he's a sergeant because he has a cap, not a helmet. And and if you look very, very closely, you can even see kind of the stripes on the shoulder, but he has a drum fed gun that is not a las gun, and it's two-handed, and I'm like, well, whatever that is, it looks badass. So I'm stoked for whatever once we see
this guy. It kind of is the guy like kind of right in front of the mortar thingy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you go on, there you go, right there, right in front of the mortar thing. So I don't know. I'm just excited because obviously this new sprue is going to have a bunch of cool bits on there to allow you to really customize this squad. Seth, do we want to talk about anything else regarding new models? Am I missing anything here?
They got the new Sentinel.
Yeah.
I guess I can't tell a huge difference between that and the old Sentinel, but there's definitely going to be. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming. They haven't shown us everything yet. We know. I'm looking forward to the Guard getting back in the game, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But Kicker,
what about this?
What's this?
What's this?
What's this end of the reveal?
Oh, okay. So why don't you speculate? I mean, you watched the end of the reveal.
I haven't watched this yet.
You haven't watched this? Well, it's currently playing right there in the background. Let's bring Tech Priest Dickie in because he's going to care more about this.
Well, I mean, he is a disembodied voice this week.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. He put the body in the shop for the week, so we just get the brain.
What do you think this is? So at the end,
this is the new campaign that they announced, right?
No. There is a new campaign.
What?
But this is
a new army.
Yeah,
that looks like Abaddon.
How did you miss
think that's just Abaddon. Are you guys crazy?
Who's he talking to? Who's Abaddon talking to? So if you're listening,
man with fingernail issues.
If you're listening to our podcast, you're missing the
backwards
visual
knees
there, which is the video that was premiered. It looks like people are thinking maybe Dark Mechanicus, possibly. What do you think? What do you think, Tech Priest?
I think Dark Mechanicus makes the most sense here.
Yeah.
That is clearly a possessed space marine that has a warp dust addiction, and therefore has grown his fingernails long to easily administer the warp dust in battle.
I mean, that's a very plausible theory, Seth, and I appreciate it. But no, it's probably Dark Mechanicus.
Yeah.
But I guess
fine.
We will find out. So if you're in chat, tell us what you think. I mean, we've been trying to poll people for a while. I still think it's Dark Mechanicus. It could.
There's some votes for Dark Mechanicus, but also Chaos Knights do have backward knees.
It could be a Chaos Knight.
That's a good point, actually. That is a good point. Well, time
and it has knee armor.
It does have knee armor. It does have knee armor.
More knee armor. The army with the most knee armor wins.
On a kind of different note, I got a really great email from Vietnam, from Ho Chi Minh, a store located in Ho Chi Minh City. They're running a massive Age of Sigmar tournament, and it's kind of exciting to see this large tournament. This is the Lord's Wargaming Company is hosting this tournament basically on October 15th, and it just really made me realize, look how big this hobby is, right? Like obviously we live in America, we tend to play against other Americans, and we know that there's obviously the LGT and some big tournaments in Europe, but like there's tournaments in every part of this country, which is awesome. So if you happen to be in Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City on October 15th, maybe go check out the Lord's Wargaming Company's massive Age of Sigmar tournament. Seth, do we want to jump into? Did I tell you about the new products that Frontline Gaming's dropping? Did I mention
Gaming
this?
dropping new product?
Yeah, well, so guys, this is I don't even know if I'm supposed to be sharing this yet. I did post something in our notes.
I don't know if our tech priest is prepared for this.
I don't know if he's prepared for this. We have a brand new. I added the photo in our slides. It's a brand.
Wait, I got it.
So first reveal, and I don't even know. I might get in trouble with Reese and Frankie at the office because I think we're not supposed to.
They can't. They're over here in the desert.
Yeah. They're over in the desert. I'm in New Orleans.
They're somewhere around here, and you're way over here. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm totally safe.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, guys, the much beloved Frontline Gaming Hobby Box is getting another release. This is kind of that amazing mixed bag of awesomeness that you get. It's a huge surprise. They sell out very, very quickly. Kind of like our high roller package that you get at LVO, except that we ship this one to people around the world. So we're going to be doing a little giveaway for one box, but then of course the rest will be going up for sale. And it's basically a mixed range of items that from a bunch of the companies that we work with that partner with us that sponsor the LVO that will be going up for sale next week, most likely. We're just kind of giving you a little teaser, but you need to get it quickly because they do sell out kind of like the high rollers. Yeah. The only other thing I really want to touch on is that we've got SoCal coming up in next week. Like it just showed up on us, and I'm looking at the roster of like teams coming. Team XPZ's coming. Kenny from Longboard's coming. A bunch of really good competitive groups are coming there to roll some dice because this is kind of the big last big hurrah before LVO. And none other than, I don't know if you're familiar with the salty banana.
The salty banana.
Smelly banana.
The smelly banana.
The salty banana. He was a former Signals from the Frontline host and
alumnus. We call that
alumnus. Is that what
alumnus? Yes, it's an alumnus.
And he as well be at SoCal. So quite a few awesome people going to SoCal.
I think it's awesome that we get to say that he's the stinky banana too, which just
we can say he's the stinky banana. He give me the salty banana. He give me the stinky. Man, whatever. Just roll with it. It's good.
Man.
I mean, have you salted a banana before? I'm sure it smells when you do that.
I mean, do people eat salted bananas? Is this the thing? I mean, why are we? I don't even know where the nickname came from, but apparently it's a thing.
It's an official company moniker, and that's all we need to know.
That's all we need to know. And I am just going to gently and politely ask for help. By the way, we need your help at SoCal. If anyone wants to help set up on Thursday, we could definitely use a little assistance unloading the trucks at 1 p.m. at the fairgrounds, just because there's only a few of us and we can't unload those heavy pallets. So yeah. Shoot me an email at events@frontlinegaming.org if you are excited to help us or willing to help us.
And Kicker, is there like something you give to people when they help out as kind of a unique gift?
Yes, but I guess we can share it. You can get a few really special limited edition staff only Frontline Gaming dice that we don't sell. They're only given to people that kind of.
It's that little bit of swag to show that you're a little bit extra.
Yes, and I might also buy some pizza and beer too if you're helping
that too.
out. So I guess that always goes a long way.
And the event's going to be streamed, right, Kicker?
The event is going to be streamed
on what network? Tech Priest, do you know what network?
Tell us, Seth.
Why don't you tell us, Seth?
Oh, well, it's clearly going to be over on the FLGN, guys.
Yes,
I mean, I don't know where else you thought it was going to be. It's going to be on the FLGN.
Yeah, are you going to be helping with that crew remotely, Seth?
I don't know. I don't know.
Tech Priest, Dickie, will you be involved with this?
I am involved. We're getting.
I don't know if you're taking the.
We're taking the P's and Q's, and we got all the people in order. We got the commentary team. I believe we got Adam in chat. He's going to be there.
All right, great.
We got the Falcon.
The Falcon is returning.
Yeah, we got the Falcon is returning. And and we have none other than Thursday show Dustin Henshaw. That's going to be coming and helping out too. Yeah.
Cool. So stay tuned for next weekend of the SoCal Open being streamed on the FLGN. Seth, what's happening in the FLGN this week, though? You want to give us a little rundown?
Well, of course, we have the Thursday show, as always, previewing the hottest and latest and greatest events coming up this weekend. But if you want to look at the week that has passed, Grim After Dark had another Valisode. And the Valisode has inspired, as you might notice, my Heffelfingers that I'm wearing. That's the official name for these glasses, is the Heffelfingers. Now Val felt he was wearing some Heffelfingers on air, and he felt that it really helped his professionalism. So being that he is our creative director and Servo Skull leader, I felt obligated to sport my Heffelfingers this evening to support his mission.
I love it. You look extremely professional in your
Thank you, Kicker.
Frontline Gaming glasses.
Those glasses give me PTSD.
Those glasses how do they give you PTSD?
Because I have to look at them when we're streaming events, and it's like, oh god,
they're just glaring at you constantly.
It's glaring at me. I don't know if he's looking at me or the screen or.
He's omnipotent.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's get into our main segment. The title of tonight's show: How to Balance 40K.
And we're figuring it out tonight, guys.
Yeah,
we're not
figuring
earnestly.
Would you like to know what my notes say at this point?
Yeah,
Vamp. That's it.
That's
Our
it.
plan is to talk it out with you guys.
Okay, cool.
We want to know kind of what your thoughts are. I pulled some stats here from the lovely Stat Check's website. If our tech priest can bring it in, there you go. Boom.
Yep.
Stats Check is a great little website, and they're a great podcast, and it's a great source to get all kinds of this information. GW posted a Meta Watch video, which was actually very interesting because it was with the lead 40K game designer talking about the importance of game balance. They posted win rates. To give you guys an idea of kind of what you're looking at here, this chart has win rates on the vertical axis. So the higher in the image, the higher win rate that particular faction has, versus the farther to the right on the image that faction symbol is, the more games have been played with that faction. So both win rate and representation in the meta. So for instance, Necrons is the furthest to the right, meaning Necrons have the most logged tournament games in this time period. So that means you're most likely to run into Necrons. Now, you look over here and you see a bunch of the Imperial Fists and Crimson Fists and Raven Guards and Ultramarines down here. These are much more low representations. So
this is actually a really good chart. Like I was like, oh geez, another graph. I hate graphs, but this one's legitimately awesome.
Now the kind of the teal bar in the middle, that's the ideal 45 to 55% win range. And those kind of orangish or tan bars above them, that's 55 to 65. So maybe a little too strong. And then that 45 to 40, maybe that too weak range. And obviously we have some way outside there. So looking at this data, and if we wanted to see how we can,
could you just give a quick like overview for people that are listening, just so that they don't have the visual image? So maybe just give us like the top 10 or something, kind of give us the highlights.
All right, let me give you. So, looking at the graph, so our top like Forces of the Hive Mind has a way huge representation for or win rate at 69%, but they have a very low representation. So which to me, that means we probably have a few really good players kicking butt, but not a ton of them. So if you look at the ones that have high representation and high win rates, that's Harlequins and Tyranids. Those are kind of the ones that are floating above the curve. Sisters and Necrons are also pretty highly represented with a pretty positive win rate. You have a few like Chaos factions that are also pretty high win rate. You've got Tau kind of sitting at a high meta representation, but at a 50% win rate. So they're seeing a lot of Tau players, but they're kind of right there in the even. If you go to the opposite end of the spectrum, we're looking at things like Imperial Fists, Crimson Fists, Raven Guard, Ultramarines.
That's like a lot of Space Marines,
Templars. They're all on the low end, along with AdMech. AdMech's also on the low end of the win rate. You know, and I'm looking through here. Guard is like right on the bubble at 40%. White Scars, Space Wolves are on there. So, you know, I don't think we can accurately try to balance Guard. They're about to get a new codex, but
that's not fair.
If you look at the top end, there's not a lot that needs to be tamped down, so to speak. Leagues of Votan's at a 55%, but a lot of events aren't letting them run their full codex yet because they don't have all the models released yet.
Good.
So we might see that running up a little bit higher. But, you know, it looks like in terms of things that need to get tuned down, it's Harlequins and Tyranids. And the things that need to get tuned up are a lot of those Space Marine sub-factions and AdMech and Death Watch need to get kind of that boost up. So how would you boost up power armor? And even if you get beyond them, you still have like Dark Angels and Grey Knights and Salamanders. In fact, the only like high placing Space Marines looks like to me we've got some Iron Hands and some Blood Angels, that have kind of pushed into that low teal band, that 45 plus. So tell me chat, how do we balance this?
So Seth, while we're looking for a few responses from chat, you know, I just want to throw out there's ways to balance, right? You can change rules or you can change points. Those are kind of the two big levers. You can also change the missions, I guess, overall. But in general, those are the easy, you know, ways to target a specific army. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of changing points because, like what happened with Votan right now recently, is points really go up and then suddenly you can't bring all your toys that you spent all this time painting. So I'd rather, like, I'm the kind of guy that like I want to play with my stuff really badly. So I'd rather you change the rules and make them kind of shittier, but at least get them on the table because I still can fit them with an army list. What do
I
you
would
think?
not be surprised to see rules adjustments to both Harlequins and Tyranids to push them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you could do some points adjustments there as well, but I think even if you make them more expensive, like they make crisis suits more expensive with Tau, and you still got guys like Tom Ogden just tabling people left and right. So I think to an extent we need to tone the rules down, not necessarily the points lever. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think the points lever is less sensitive than the rules lever in terms of affecting a performance of an army.
Agreed. Cool. So chat, what do we got? We got anything interesting?
So I'll give you a hot take right now. Jordan Cole says, since a lot of Space Marines are low, Armor of Contempt ignores the first 2 AP.
Ooh.
I think that would be really rough for a lot of armies.
Yeah, that's oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, I do think it's. Listen. Who's that? That was who wrote that? Who said that?
That was Jordan Cole.
Jordan, I think that's a great contribution, but I'm like, geez, that's a lot.
That's going to be there's a point of diminishing returns with that, because if I just shoot a regular old Space Marine with an AP0 gun, he's still a 3-up save. He's going to fail some of them. So there is a point of diminishing returns. Yeah. You could see some armies that are just end up spamming like no AP guns. Like Tau could just be like, screw it, all burst cannons, just burst cannons everywhere. Take 1,000,000 saves. But I think that's an option to boost them up. I think with Space Marines in general, I think you could probably turn down a lot of the points and see a lot more. I think, unfortunately, like some of the supplements, they're fairly old, and they're just not strong rules combinations for things like Raven Guard and Imperial Fist. So I think they would need a rules tweak there.
What about just throwing this out there? I mean, and I'm just going to toss out there, give him a 5-up Field No Pain, or like maybe 6-up Field No Pain. I don't know, for Space Marines.
I don't know. I don't know, like Army wide or like Space Marine wide. I think, they have the combat doctrine system, and maybe giving it used to be a very much like, you start in Devastator, you can stay there as long as you want. Maybe tweaking that, maybe saying, hey, if you're Raven Guard and your bonus applies when you have Tactical Doctrine, you can start the game with Tactical Doctrine. You can stay in it for 3 turns. Or just something like that might be an easy way to give those armies some of that early game killing power, where instead of having to wait for that turn 3 to get to their Assault Doctrine or turn 2, at which point they've just kind of been trying to hide and not die for a few turns. A lot of the other thing to think about with, and Kelsey points it out in chat, a lot of these older codexes, Guard and Space Marines, they were designed CP wise when we had higher starting CPs.
Very good point. Could we start them off with more CP? Would that be cool?
So I think we could definitely look at some of the older books and say, hey, or not more CP, but just like go back and look at their strats and be like, you know what, we're going to knock the cost off a lot of these strats. A lot of these 2 CPs are going to come 1, things like that. I don't know if you probably could give them a way to generate more CP.
You could have them start off with,
if you have a chapter master in your army, you start with 2 bonus CP or something like that.
I think something so simple,
that would open up a lot of combos for them that they don't have access to right now in the CP meta. Joel Atkins also points out that Space Marine 2.0 has been rumored. I've heard that rumor myself, Joel, but I don't know when that's coming. It's not been anything in GW's announced, so I really don't think we're going to see it between now and December. And I would be surprised if we saw it before February or March of next year, just because they've got to get the rest of the Votann release out. They've got to get Guard out. They've got to get not Khorne Demon King, but World Eaters out. So they still got a lot of stuff to put out there, and then get through the holiday season. So.
Yeah. Well, so okay, we're talking about Space Marines, and we'll still be reading in chat if there's anything about Space Marines. But what about knocking down, these high performers?
I certainly think there's like we've been seeing. We don't have the data right now saying that Chaos Space Marines has been really strong, but we've definitely seen them get to a lot of top tables and higher up in events lately. LGT and the Chicago Open being the last 2. And it might just be a case of we just need a few more weeks of data, and then we'll start to see those Space Marine lists kind of hone into what they're supposed to be and bump up into those higher win rates. I've personally played against a few of the combinations, and I'll tell you, Creations and Bile, army-wide fight on death, that's pretty rough. So I think you could change that to like most of the other fight on death mechanics are you fight on death on a 4+. or something like that. So it's not necessarily reliable. You can't be like, I'm just going to run my thing in, it's going to die, but then it's going to clap back and do a bunch of damage. Jordan Cole pointed out we could do something like give Space Marines free access to relics and warlord traits like before Nephilim. So maybe not turning down CP costs, but just giving them free warlord traits and relics to start with.
And I want to say, Seth, I don't know if you see our notes there. One of the things I really wanted from this upcoming balanced data slate is I want my free warlord trait and relic back across the board, right? Like I
think a lot of armies would like that back. As an orc player,
you'd like that.
I would very much like that.
So maybe that's something. I mean, ideally, everyone gets that back, and then maybe these other factions that need a little boost get something additional as well, like the 2 CP for having a chapter master or something like that.
Cool. Yeah. So I think there's definitely ways to go about that. I think Harlequins are a tough one because they've already tried to adjust them a few times, and they've pretty much always managed to still come out ahead of the curve. I think Harlequins right now, they lose when they lose a trading war with someone. So, you throw a unit out, I throw a unit out. We keep trading units back and forth.
Yeah.
So I don't know what room there's left rules-wise for adjustments, but I could see them being like, all right, just jack the points up on them so they just have less assets, less resources for that trade
even
game.
If it's just one squad less, one boat less.
So I think that might swing a lot of those games. Tyranids, it's mostly Leviathan Tyranids is what we're seeing winning. Kraken's also doing well, but Leviathan is kind of the big boogeyman that most folks are running. And that army-wide transhuman is just disgusting.
Pretty good.
So I certainly think we could see some changes there. Maybe turn it, like I hate it for orcs, but with orcs, it's a lot of times the snake bite culture is if your strength 7 or less, it's transhuman.
Yeah, and it really does kind of neuter it in many ways because sometimes it's totally irrelevant. But
so I think that might be something to look at. It might help kind of take down some of those monster builds and those T5 spam builds. I think the other thing with Tyranids that probably needs a little reeling back, they have an obscene ability for mortal wound output.
Yeah.
Between their zoanthropes and their neuranthropes and all their psychic characters and their spore mines, there's a lot of ways for them to output mortal wounds that can be backbreaking to a lot of armies.
Yeah.
So,
and we have to do something to control that mortal wound output and their psychic powers because we both know Guard and Chaos Horn, whatever world leaders. Those are not going to be psychic powerhouses armies that are coming into play.
They're not. They're not gonna naturally bring those back down.
So we need to find something to temper that stuff. Yeah. Well, anything in chat? What do you guys think?
Chat's talked about a few times about changing missions and secondaries. I don't see them changing missions and secondaries in a balanced data slate. They might. Don't get me wrong. I guess nothing's off the table, but generally speaking, balanced data slate has mostly been rules and points adjustments. So I think that's probably where they're going to try to go. I mean, certainly, it's pretty obvious. If you have an army with really good secondaries, Necrons,
sisters,
you're going to see really, really good win rates out of those armies. So I certainly think that helps them. But it doesn't make them invincible.
No, this is not a wish list. This is not a dream. This is not a hope. This is just throwing it out there. Would it be cool or good, or do you recommend it to maybe just say you can only get one of your, I guess, codex specific secondaries as opposed to up to 3 of them?
I have heard a rumor
Yep.
that when those codex secondaries were being designed, it was under the notion that you would only have one codex specific one, and then you would have to take 2 generic ones. I think I would be very interested to play a few of the more abusive armies in terms of secondaries, play against them and see how that feels. See if it really evens it out. Chat, have you tried that?
Yeah, it does balance things out a little bit, right? Therefore, you've only got 1 in 3 secondaries that they've got.
And I think most codexes have one playable secondary. It might not be fantastic, but it's playable. So I certainly think that's worth a try. I'd be very interested in that. That's a pretty good idea. So I think that would be interesting to try out. It might still be, sake of argument, I'm orcs. I give up a kill secondary. Whether that's assassinate or no prisoners, one of those two, I'm going to give up a pile of it. There's no way to write a list around it or bring it down. So there's definitely armies that just by their construction give up a generic secondary fairly easily. So if I'm playing into someone like Necrons that has a good codex secondary and they're still locked to just one, I might still be in an uphill battle, but is that battle insurmountable? I don't think so. Yeah. Chat also points out that Necrons are getting a new army of renown in the next White Dwarf. Yes, they are. I am cautiously concerned about that one. I will wait to see what happens.
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but it's an army that already is winning really well, and so.
So in the past, let's just call it 6 months, the White Dwarf armies, for lack of a better word, have not been.
Yeah. They haven't done a ton.
Entertaining, but not.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Harlequins was a great little supplement though when they got their like White Dwarf supplement. So
yeah.
Chat's saying it's gonna be good. It's a pure destroyer army.
Ooh. Has that been? Have they released?
I mean, destroyers are already a lot of some of the Necron lists out there. They're basically running tons of Scorp decks, and I've seen Obsidians. I've seen Locusts and heavy destroyers. I mean, I've seen other things in the list: Silent King, Immortals, Tomb Blades. I was like, what's the bike's name? Tomb Blades, Scarabs. So I don't know if those lists will play as well without those elements, but they still could certainly play the game.
Yeah, and if we're just talking about this, they could always just like really pinpoint out some specific offenders like Necrons. Hey, just remove one of the secondaries or butcher one of their secondaries so that they don't have.
I mean, if we want to go crazy, Kicker,
let's go crazy, dude.
All right, let's go crazy.
Oh boy.
There is in previous systems and other games, other sports, a handicap system.
Ooh. So you
basically I don't know that we have the I don't know we have the well, maybe it's not points for our army list building, but that was something that was done a long time ago in 8th edition fantasy when I was playing that. There was the standard game was 2,000 points. Some armies were said, okay, for competitive play, you can bring 2,200 points.
Okay.
And some armies were said, no, you're too good. You can only bring 1,800. So there were army construction things that some people did. I think that if I'm GW, I don't do that. I just change the total points for your army. I just change the point cost per model. If I think your army is too cheap, I increase the points. If I think your army is too expensive, I decrease the points. But one thing that we could do is say, all right, Necron's got such an easy game. Necrons cap out instead of at 90 points at 85 points or 80 points, something like that. Like you could try to do something like that where you say you just get, you get a certain, plus or minus VP differential.
Chat, what do you think about a handicap system? What do you guys
Kelsey
think?
says minus 15 VP for playing NIDs and plus 20 for playing Space Marines.
Yeah, let's do it. I like it.
I mean, that might be a way. I don't know if that's necessarily a way GW would go because they have the option to kind of rewrite anything. But I think that would be an interesting way for community adjustment or if they wanted to go that way because they don't want to. You got to remember, GW is always trying to appease both us, the competitive community, but also the casual narrative community. So I could see them doing that where it's like, hey, for these tournament missions, here's the handicaps that each army get. That way, the guys that are just having, beer and pretzels, garage hammer, they're not going to have to worry about this.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's happening?
My last point. Oh, I'm really loud. Sorry, guys. My last point is demons got their FAQ today.
They did. And malefic weapons ignore armor of contempt because those Space Marine factions, as we see, were just burning up the meta, baby.
Or Chaos Marines.
All right, well.
Or Votan, I guess. Anyway, also the armor of Scorn works now. It's not a meme thing, right? So you get +1 save to your demon save versus damage 1. That's super awesome. So do you think demons are gonna start hitting up the lights fantastic here or what?
No, because I can punch them real hard with orcs.
Yeah.
I think demons are good, but I think demons do have some issues. They unfortunately just volume of fire seems to be a big issue for a lot of their units, and there are a lot of codexes out there with a lot of volume. right
well,
now, and there's
we
more
have
volume coming in the form of Guard and Votan.
Votan. Well, I know there's a few very accomplished demon players coming to SoCal, so that will kind of give us a good little.
Right.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll
Well,
see what happens.
I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Sweet. Seth, you wanna? Well, you guys, we're still paying attention to chat, but let's get into the ITC.
All right. Let me get my notes back up. I might have had to adjust things on my computer. All right, there we go. I'm good. All right, so let's get into your ITC recap for the week. We have a new number one. Reclaiming the top spot is the Jack of all armies, Jack Harpster.
Congratulations.
Is this where we add the USA chants? USA.
Yes, there we go.
USA back to top.
Number 2, bumping back down, Vic VJ. Number 3, David Gaylord. Number 4, Thomas Ogden. And sneaking in there at number 5, an old familiar name, the Boy King himself, returning to claim his crown, is John Lennon.
Where did he jump from? Because I don't think I've seen him on the list.
He was lower. Yeah, he was still in the top 10, but he was lower down. But he had the scores for the Chicago Open have gone in, so that's pushed a lot of the rankings around. Speaking of which, if you go over to our hobby track, you'll also see a new number 1 there. This one is Matt Aaron, and Matt has a lot of strong hobby scores. He's from the Death or Glory Club, but he also got his score in for the GW Open.
Where did this guy come from, though? He's not been in the top 5.
I mean, he's been down in the lower ranks, but he just got like his score for the Chicago Open kind of bumped like a much lower score out of his top set of scores. So we got a big jump from that. So Matt did great there. Number 2, still Jacob Thayer. Number 3, Dean Pritchard. Number 4, Derek Page. And number 5, another Aaron, but the opposite version of an Aaron Kelman. Sliding on down to the AOS competitive track. Number 2, Gavin Greigard. Number 3, Anthony Trentinelli. Number 4, Jeremy Vizier. Number 5, Matt Beasley. Number 4. Number 5 is Rich Hanna. Keep an eye on a few of those names, because when we get over to the hobby track, pause for effect. There we go. Our number 1 is Robert Snyder. Number 2, Ricky Fisher. Number 3, Anthony Trentinelli. Number 4, Matt Beasley. And number 5, Jeremy Williams. So we have a few of the competitive guys sneaking into that hobby track over there on the AOS side, which makes me wonder, Kicker, are the AOS guys just better at the hobby than the 40K guys?
Yes.
I don't see any of the 40K guys sneaking in to the 40K hobby track. I just don't. Like, I don't see any of them.
I would really like to see that. Now, there are a few very good players for 40K that are also accomplished hobbyists. We've got Sean Naden, beautiful army. We've got
but Sean's kind of taking it off here.
Well, Stephen Box, when he goes to tournaments, he kicks ass, and he has a beautiful freaking army. So they do exist in 40K, but I think it's just more
they're the exception as compared to this being the AOS rule.
Yeah.
All right. Well, AOS, we tip your hat to you.
Yeah, AOS is leading the way. Seth, anything else in chat we want to talk? Anything else that's critical?
Chat's been engaged tonight. It's been really fun. I guess a lot of guys know Matt, so that's been pretty cool. But that's about it for us tonight, guys. Kicker, do you have any final thoughts for the evening?
No, I want to say that Seth, because of the wonderful chat today and all the comments, and we were taking notes, guys. We listened and we're taking notes, and basically, I think we solved the whole balance thing for the world.
We fixed 40K.
Yeah, we just fixed 40K. Yeah, high five, boom, up in the air. Thank you, chat. We really appreciate it. This is awesome. We basically solved the world's problems in about 45 minutes. So thank you, guys.
I would drop the mic, but it would make your ears hurt.
No, but guys, really, the chat here is super helpful. We do pay attention, and we use this to, make the world a better place. Seth, why don't you take us out, man?
All right. Well, we thank you so much for watching this episode of Signals from the Frontline. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Good night, guys.
Good night.